Hello, and welcome in to our beautiful studios at Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession. Today is Monday, October the 13th. You and I also know it as Columbus Day, 2025. There is so much going on. And you know what the beautiful thing about this weekend was, being a fan of the Giants? It was stress-free. They win on Thursday. We have a euphoric show on Thursday night. We do the show on Friday. The excitement level is palpable. But you didn't have to wake up on Sunday morning with the jitters. There was no nervousness. There was no anxiety. There was none of that, because you went into this weekend knowing the Giants had already secured a win. You know the last time you could do that? We're 2025. The last time you were able to do anything like that was 2015. A full decade ago was the last time the Giants had a win heading into a weekend. 10 full years. So if you're new, we welcome you in. If you're an old veteran of this YouTube show, then you know how it works. But let me tell you exactly kind of how it works and what we're going to do. Bob Pompa, the voice of the Giants, is going to join us in about 8, 9, 10 minutes, in that range, at about 1:10 Eastern today. We're going to get into the rookies. Today's going to kind of have a rookie-centric show where the three rookies, Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterbo, and Abdul Carter, on that order, by the way. I guess let's go chronologically, right? 3 was Carter, 25 was Dart, and then 4th-round pick was Scatterbo. We'll get into what those guys are doing, and not only what they're doing kind of on the field, but what the juice they're adding to the Giants and the excitement level that there is around the NFL with the Giants. It's not just a Giants fan base that's excited. I think the NFL is kind of taking notice of what this team is in the process of doing. So it does, in fact, go beyond the stats. My fixins. So you'll see the graphic a little bit later. Nico and I had different terminology about fixins. When we came up with the term the fixins, I thought like fixin' bar. Like you go to a beefsteak Charlie's, right? It probably doesn't even exist anymore. You go to some like restaurant, you go up to the fixins bar and you get some, like pickles and onions and relish and that kind of stuff. Nico thought he'd put me in a hard hat. So, I mean, I am the last person that would ever be on a job site in a hard hat, but that's what you're going to see later with my fixins. It's kind of hard to do fixins also right now because the Giants played so well on Thursday. Again, Philly not scoring in the second half, Giants turning over the Eagles, the whole thing. So we'll certainly get into my fixins a little bit later. And Mount Rushmore is something that we have brought into the show. My Mount Rushmore, I'm not going to tell you which one it is this week. I like it. I think this is enticing. I think it's entertaining, and I think it will percolate when we get to it later on in the course of the show. We'll go over my picks as well. I got to be honest with you, I don't even remember my picks. I know one was wrong. I know I had said, Nico put down the wrong thing. He said Tampa Bay -6.5. I was like, whoa. We get Tampa Bay's not -6.5. It's a shame that we didn't do Tampa Bay -6.5 because they covered that number. But we'll get into the pick review a little bit later. So we have questions, comments. We welcome you in. There's so many different ways to watch. X, right? Twitter, we call that as well. Comment, post, ask questions, make comments. We'll get to all of those during the course of the week and do a special feature on that on Friday. You can now reach out on the super chat, which is exciting. So you do that on YouTube. All our different socials, Instagram, TikTok @DR Giants Obsession, on Twitter @DRNYGO, on Spotify, Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession. And then, of course, YouTube is kind of the lifeblood of the show. That's how we come to you Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and typically Sundays about 20 minutes, half an hour after the Giants are done, which we're going to be right in the sweet spot because the Giants play at Denver 4:05 on Sunday. And then that game ends at, 7:05, 7:10, 7:30. We hit the ground running, 7:30 on Sunday night. And we'll see. It's a tough matchup. Now, the thing you like is that Denver is going from London all the way back to Denver. So it's a long trip. But their defense is elite. It really is. I mean, they got to Justin Fields 9 times yesterday. Their secondary, they have the best cover corner in the entire NFL. So that's an elite defense. That being said, I think the Giants present problems for some teams. And their offense didn't look great against the Jets yesterday. So we'll get into that as we continue along with the week. But just to let you know where we are as far as our YouTube subscribers are concerned, and we're at 1559. We're looking to get to I don't even need to tell you where we're looking to get to. But we want 5,000 because that's when things start to really, really happen. So we appreciate your support Chris T, Tyler Sweeney, they've joined. They are now YouTube members, so we appreciate you guys as well, certainly. It's pretty remarkable where we are with the Giants in this division right now, because listen, the Giants' schedule is daunting, so I'm not going to have any delusions of grandeur that they're going to go on some kind of a massive run and make it to the postseason. All I'll say is this weekend was as good as you could possibly hope for the standings of where the Giants are right now, right? So the Giants were 1-4. Giants win. They go to 2-4. Eagles lose, obviously. They go to 4-2. So you pick up a game there. Now you have the tiebreaker against them. And again, I'm not saying the Giants are going to do anything. I don't believe they're going to do anything. I'm just looking at this from a positive perspective for a moment. So Dallas yesterday, they lose. This Dallas team, which everyone's all excited about, they're now 2-3-1. So the Giants are half a game behind them. And you don't have to worry about a tiebreaker with Dallas because there won't be a tiebreaker unless you have a tie, which you won't. So you're half a game behind them right now. And then, of course, Washington. You guys can put the standings up if you'd like. Washington, there you go, is 3-2 heading into their game tonight, where they take on the Bears. And you would assume that they would win that game. But again, I don't want to have any idea. I don't want people to think for a second that I look at this thing and say the Giants realistically are going to compete for a playoff spot, because I don't believe that to be true. I think this team still has a lot of holes, and we'll get into the fixins a little bit later on in the show. But isn't it nice just at least for a moment to look at things and say, boy, like, to even be able to do this exercise of the Giants, they win, and Philly, they lose, and Dallas, they lose, and to look at the standings and not just be completely embarrassed about it. And again, I don't want to take the tact of what could have been, but could you imagine if Jackson Dart, because clearly Jackson Dart is ready, right? Could you imagine where the Giants would be if Jackson Dart was the starter from week 1? Do they beat Washington? Well, you know what the truth is? I don't know. Do they beat Dallas? Probably not. And I'll tell you why, because I don't know that Jackson Dart would have played any better in that game than Russell Wilson did. Russell Wilson was nothing short of sensational, really, in that game. He was absolutely sensational in that game. Threw for 450 yards, long touchdowns. Now, it almost felt like he was Cinderella, where he got to the end of regulation, and once we got into overtime, all bets are off now, right? Because in overtime, he threw the interception, he threw the lateral, which lost 15 yards. The Chiefs game, do they win that? Maybe. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to think the Giants could have won that game against the Chiefs had Jackson Dart been the starting quarterback. So they beat the Chargers and against the Saints. And again, there's going to be growing pains. Like, let's not make the mistake of looking at what the Giants are right now and not expecting there to be growing pains for a number of reasons. Firstly, you know, he's doing this. It really is amazing to think about what he's able to do in his rookie year, having no experience. Now, I think going to Mississippi and playing in a pro-style offense and playing for a former NFL head coach and playing against that level of competition every week certainly helps. But this is a kid that has no NFL experience, and he goes to battle with, as his number 1 receiver this past week, Wan'Dale Robinson, and his number 2, Lil Jordan Humphrey. I mean, it's not like we're talking about an embarrassment of riches from the Giants' perspective at all, right? So I think that you have to be very excited about what you've seen. And even in that loss to the Saints, where the Giants scored 14 points early and went up 14-3, you started to have this mindset of, oh my God, like clearly he's able to make guys better just in the way he plays. Now, I don't know if it's in the way he plays. I don't know if it's just the energy and the aura and the excitement that he brings to the table. But what Jackson Dart is able to do is add this bit of excitement and this just, I can't even put my finger on it, but guys, there's an excitement surrounding the Giants, both on the field and off the field and in the stands and on the sidelines and on the field that you really haven't seen in quite some time. And I said this the other night after the win over Philadelphia. The Giants have not had a win to this magnitude since they beat the Vikings in the playoffs in early 2023. So we're looking at approaching 3 full years since the Giants have had a win to this extent. And if that doesn't excite you, and I don't know what this season is going to be, because you look at the schedule, it's still highly, highly daunting, right? It's Broncos, it's Philadelphia after that, it's San Francisco, who, and let's be fair, continues to look easier and easier and easier as we move forward here. San Francisco with the amount of injuries they've had. So we'll get to all this stuff as we move forward today on this Monday after the Giants had a highly successful weekend. Let's bring in the voice of the New York Football Giants, someone I've admired for quite some time, Bob Papa. Bob?
Dave, how are you?
I am great. How are you? Where are you, in the airport right now?
Jacksonville Airport. Yeah, we're ready to fly up, take the Coach Dable show tomorrow.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So how different does it feel for you to go through what you just went through, to go through a game where you can have an excitable call and big plays are happening over what we've kind of become accustomed to with the Giants over the last God knows how many months and years, really?
Well, really, it's been since 2022, right? Where the last time we had anything of significance, although I will take exception or challenge you on the Chargers game. And the reason why I say that is the Chargers were 3-0 coming into the game.
Yeah.
They had won 3 games within their division, having beaten the Chiefs and, having that emotional win against Denver. And people were talking about the Chargers as being one of the best teams in the National Football League. And the Giants went wire to wire against the Chargers. I mean, they took the lead early and they never trailed. So I thought that was a pretty significant win for them because most people thought they'd get run out of the building, especially with
right.
Dart making his first start.
I'm going to fall on the sword here. I'm going to admit my mistake because I think it takes a real man to admit his mistake. I'm going to admit my mistake. I'm going to own up to that. And I think you would agree with this. Yes, that's a wonderful win. But when you there's something and a hatred, a special kind of hatred against the Philadelphia Eagles, and they've owned the Giants. And I heard your post game the other night. I was driving here to do our post game show. I heard your post game, and you said that Philadelphia was 27-7 over the Giants in the last 34 meetings. So you're right. The Chargers game was a massive victory, but that game against Philadelphia felt so special because I don't have any animosity towards the Chargers. I detest the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes, I mean, listen. That's the last time the Giants beat the Eagles in a significant game, probably since 2011. Yeah, I mean, they won in Philly in 2013, but Michael Vick got hurt, and I think Matt Barkley came in and played quarterback. I think it was 15-7. 2020, when the Giants were in the playoff hunt at 5-7. They had a win against Philadelphia, but seriously, you really have to go back to 2011 as the last time they beat the Eagles in a game that mattered, which happened to be the Victor Cruz breakout game. So, I mean, it's been miserable. Listen, that stat I gave you, that's from before opening kickoff of the 2008 divisional playoff game at Giants Stadium when the Giants were the #1 seed and everyone thought they were going back-to-back, but Plaxico shot himself in the leg.
Yep.
And he was the difference maker. Philadelphia, the Giants, there's a segment of Giant fans that don't remember from the Fossil era through the first half or the first third of the Coughlin era, the Giants owned Philadelphia. They beat them all the time. And then from that point on, that was like the line of demarcation, 27 losses in 34 games. So that's what made Thursday night so special. They're the defending Super Bowl champions. You punch them in the mouth. You shut them out in the second half. Other than the first 2 runs of the game, you didn't let Saquon rub it in your face. And it was a pretty special night.
It really was. And you mentioned that 2008. And I want to get into the current iteration of the Giants, but I remember that game against the Eagles like it was yesterday, Bob. There was a bomb early in that game to Dominic Hickson. It would have been a touchdown. The Giants would have taken the lead, and who knows what happens from there. And he dropped it, and the Giants really never had a lot of opportunities after that moment.
Well, right, because Hickson returned the kickoff. They started at midfield, and then they ran the play that Brian Dawkins could not deal with, and the Eagles could not deal with. The same exact play that Plaxico would run, except Hickson along the sideline. I could still see it down the right-hand sideline. Hickson gets blown up by Dawkins, doesn't catch the ball, and it felt like the game unraveled from that moment on. And you could see the confidence that Philadelphia had, but that's ancient history. Don't get Coughlin, don't get any of those 2008 Giants started on it because they really feel like of all the teams that they had, Super Bowl 42 and Super Bowl 46, all of them to a man will say the 2008 team was the best team that they played on.
That was a terrific team. They were 11-1 that year, and then it fell apart. But let's look at this current team, Bob, and what What do you see from Jackson Dart? Because it's not only like I see and he looks terrific on the field, he's insanely athletic. He needs to dial it back as far as just taking this mass amount of punishment. But what, like, it feels like he's energizing an entire organization, and he's only made 3 starts so far in the NFL.
You're 100% right. And, I had gotten some good intel on Jackson Dart well before the Giants ever drafted him when he was still at Ole Miss from my Sirius XM NFL radio broadcast partner, Charlie Weiss, whose son was Jackson Dart's offensive coordinator at Ole Miss. And there's a leadership skill that he had. Ever since the NCAA has gone wild west with the NILs and transfer portals and everything else,
Mhm.
Jackson Dart was recruiting players himself to Ole Miss. And one of the things that this is how you know how a guy is beloved by his teammates. The defensive players at Ole Miss spoke just as highly of Jackson Dart's leadership than the offensive players did. And he has that. I'm not putting him in the Baker Mayfield class, but there's this thing that a lot of football coaches will use the term the Pied Piper effect. And Baker Mayfield's one of those guys that has the Pied Piper effect, that teammates will just follow him to the wall for anything. And Jackson Dart certainly has that component. And listen, from what we've seen so far, you could see the team feed off him. I mean, look at the other night. I mean, there was an incompletion to Wandale Robinson. It could have been a really big play, and it was a scramble drill, but Jackson Dart avoided a sack. And there was about 7 times in that game where Philadelphia thought they had a sack dialed up, and he turned it into a positive play, or at least a neutral play, but not like one of these big losses. So, and that gets everybody fired up when you see your quarterback not getting sacked and then making a playoff schedule. The touchdown pass to Wandell. I mean, he could have been sacked 4 times on that play. And then he made a great effort to get the ball out, and then Wandell did the rest.
Yeah. I want to ask you about you talk about Ole Miss and how he would motivate the defense and guys just want to go to battle for this guy. How much do you think it helps him that he played for a guy who's coached in the NFL at Mississippi like Lane Kiffin?
Yeah, I mean, everybody talks about, well, when he struggled against New Orleans, and he struggled against New Orleans, if you cut on the coach's tape, Mike Kafka actually called a really good game. There were guys wide open all over the field. He wasn't seeing it. He was double clutching. He was checking it down. He was taking off and running when he had people available to him. Even on the interception he threw, he had somebody running a shallow cross on that 4th down play. Just throw it to him. It's a first down, keep the game alive. But that's part of a learning experience. But I think he was coached hard. And I think it is a factor when you have guys like Lane Kiffin and even Charlie Weiss Jr., who was on the staff with the Atlanta Falcons under Dan Quinn when he was the head coach in Atlanta, that bring a pro style to it. And I think Dart's going to just get better and better.
So it's funny because he's 3 games in, and people are acting as if, and he kind of is like saving the Giants, and you see the affection that Dable has for him, and just that relationship as it continues to grow. But we can't lose sight of the fact, Bob, that he is a rookie. He's in the infancy stages of his rookie season. He's going to make rookie mistakes. Like, people freaked out on my radio show, 5 turnovers, and it's unacceptable. And how do I do that? It's his 2nd start in the NFL. So for all the good, and there's going to be lots and lots of good, there are going to be moments where he looks like a rookie, and he should, because, Bob, he is a rookie.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's not going to be perfect, but he has done some things that only a handful of quarterbacks have ever done in their first 3 starts. But you got to build upon it. Like, he's going to be playing a very good Denver defense that's good at forcing turnovers. And, does he protect the football? Does he put it in harm's way? You just want to see progress with him. You just want to see things get better and better over time. And you live with the mistakes. You live with the mistakes of aggression. You live with the mistakes of not seeing things. These defensive coordinators, these guys get paid a lot of money to confuse people. I mean, he saw it in the Monday Night Football game here in Jacksonville. Patrick Mahomes, when he threw that interception that went for 99 yards, he was like, look, I had a really good look. I had exactly what I wanted. They just disguised it really well and jumped into something I wasn't expecting. And then the ball gets intercepted and returned the other way. So if it can happen to Mahomes, it's certainly going to happen to Jackson Dart.
So for all the excitement that Dart is providing, and he is, and people should be, Giants fans should be excited, ecstatic, really, with what you've seen early stages. Cam Scadaboo feels like, yeah, I'll take your excitement, quarterback, and I'll raise it tenfold because I'm literally running through walls, right? I mean, I destroy blitzers, and I'm impossible to stop in short yardage. Like, what kind of juice and energy has Scadaboo added to this team?
Well, I mean, look at all the teammates doing like the Scatterboo scream and it's infectious, man. Guys feed off that kind of stuff. And, we talk about team bonding. This team has been very close since the spring. I think we saw it in training camp, like when guys got hurt in the preseason games, how the whole team would come out and support that player. They've been a very close knit group, and they genuinely like each other. And I think what we're seeing out of Scadaboo is even more of a galvanizing effect with the football team. Now, look, this is the NFL, and there are dudes sitting up in the press box that have a little button to push. He's going to have to figure out a way to stay aggressive, but be smart, because eventually they're going to hit that button and put him in that blue tent. He might not come back in a game, which is why I really hope that the Giants can get Tyrone Tracy going. He got injured, wasn't a real factor on Thursday night, but I want to see more of that 1-2 punch with those two than just relying so much on Scatterable.
So we had Mina Kimes on the show on Friday, and she, everyone is very impressed with what Dart is able to do. And her big thing that she was saying, and I think she's right, is he has to figure out a way to be more careful and not take the hits. Like a 3rd and 3, you're gonna plow through and try to pick up the first down. I get it, but you can't every single time try to do that. Is that just early on rookie? He's so excitable, like. Does the coach have to tell him, like, Jax, we have to dial it back a little bit? How does that get remedied?
Well, they have told him, and Lane Kiffin told him, and Charlie Weiss Jr. told him. And this was a problem at Ole Miss, where he got taken out of a couple of games because of that kind of style of playing. And you could tell a guy all you want, but when the game starts and he's out there running and he's thinking he's going to make somebody miss, or he sees a defender coming, like, he's not thinking about what you talked about before the game. He's not thinking about what you talked about during the week. We don't want him to learn the lesson the hard way. And he has to really figure out a way to temper things and find out when is it I gotta have it play, and when is it that let's just live for the next play. And that's on him. It's not as if they don't talk about it. I thought he would have learned the lesson in the last preseason game against New England, where he was leading that scoring drive, and then he got hit in the head. He got knocked down on a run, and he laid on the ground. They put him in the blue tent. Then he was all pissed off that he couldn't get back in the game. This isn't college, man, where who knows what they do on the sidelines, and you see quarterbacks get ragdolled left and right, and somehow they're bouncing back in the game. The NFL is a lot stricter with that stuff, and he's going to have to make that determination, because it certainly has been preached to him, not just this year, but last year.
Abdul Carter, there was such tremendous excitement. I think he's been really good in spots. What's your take on his first 6 games in the NFL?
Well, here's why. He's got to learn how to finish plays better. There are certain times where if he doesn't make the play initially, he doesn't finish the play. And that was definitely evident against the Chargers on a few plays. But I will say that here's where stats can be very misleading. If you look at the official NFL stat book from the Giants-Eagles game, and you go to the defensive stats, Abdul Carter is credited with nothing. He did not get credited with a single tackle or an assist. He didn't get credited with a quarterback hit. Nothing. However, you ask the Philadelphia Eagles great offensive line coach about the impact that Abdul Carter had on the game, and he'll tell you to go pound salt with the stat sheet. He was very disruptive. In fact, on one of Brian Burns' sacks, Carter's the one that created the free lane for Burns. So his sacks will eventually come. I think he's got to be more consistent on a down in, down out basis. But he's been nothing short of fantastic. He sets the edge in the run game. He's also pushed Kayvon Thibodeau to be a better player. Thibodeau's playing the best he's ever played in the National Football League, both against the run and getting pressure on the quarterback. So I like what I'm seeing at Abdul Carter. The splash plays will come because teams are going to have to spend more and more time dealing with Brian Burns and dealing with Thibodeau, and Carter's going to get his one-on-ones to win.
You mentioned Brian Burns, and I thought it was good last year, and we know what kind of player he is. He's an all-pro player this year. Like, his game has taken to another level. Now, I don't know whether it's health, right? He's healthier than he was last season, or it's the Carter, Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence effect. But do you agree? Like, we are seeing a different version, a better version of Brian Burns this season.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, having watched the tape last year, he was a lot better than good, in my opinion. I thought he was great last year. The numbers didn't necessarily add up, and he had to play through a series of injuries that he gutted out. But his energy level and the way that he plays, snap in and snap out, was really amazing. But this year, he's taking it to another level. He's taking it to a level of, I want people around the league at the 31 other NFL teams to realize how dominant I am, because he hasn't gotten that recognition that he feels he should have gotten in the past. Just like in 22, Bobby Okereke, who hasn't made a Pro Bowl, played at a Pro Bowl level, didn't get into the Pro Bowl. Brian Burns is trying to leave the door, shut the door right away here and just say, hey, I'm getting to the Pro Bowl. I'm getting an all pro. And it's the way he practices too. Like, if you're out of practice, especially during training camp, he doesn't stand with the defense. He stands behind the offense to try to understand and diagnose what's happening. And he's a real student of the game. And he's very infectious with the energy he brings into the locker room.
All right, let's look at the offensive line a little bit. I know you have a flight to catch. That's right, you're at the airport. So we'll let you get running for that in just a couple of moments. Offensive line, does Dart make the offensive line better just in his mobility?
Absolutely. I mean, just if you do the math, just think about some of the plays in the game the other night. And look, this is not meant as a slander, and I don't want this to come across as a slander. But how many times would Russell Wilson have been sacked in that game on Thursday night? Now, Russell Wilson, for 10 years of his career, maybe good enough to get in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The guy that went to back-to-back Super Bowls, the guy that was part of a Seattle team that were perennial division winners and threats to get to the Super Bowl, he used to make those plays. That was part of his resume of doing the Fran Tarkington reverse field, go retreat 20 yards, and then throw a moon ball to Tyler Lockett and break your heart. Father Time's undefeated. He can't do that anymore. Jackson Dart can. So, yeah, he's making the offensive line better. And he scrambles with good discipline. This way, when he's scrambling, it's sometimes guys can get so helter-skelter that they're force holding penalties because they're all over the place. Dart has done it with his eyes downfield, trying to stay within the confines of the pocket area, which certainly helped the offensive line. And the other thing is, listen, Andrew Thomas is playing as good as he's ever played. And I think it was really smart of them to not rush him back. They tried it with Hudson, who was a healthy scratch the other day. Marcus Bowe has been a tremendous find. So I think they were able, instead of rushing Thomas back, to bring Thomas back when he was ready. And you're seeing the effects of that.
Yeah, I mean, you stole my last question away. It was about Andrew Thomas. He's playing at an unbelievable level. And I know the Giants haven't been a good football team for quite some time, but he's like that. When he's healthy, he's as good a left tackle as there is in the NFL, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, his shutout rate so far this year has been unbelievable. I got to give a shout out, though, to Austin Schlottman, because you know how hard it is to come into a game, especially in a big game like this, prime time against a division rival and a good team, to not have a false start, to not have a bad snap, to be ready to go. And that's a tribute to Carmen Brasillo, the offensive line coach, that you didn't really miss John Michael Schmitz all that much when he came in the game. So, it's all these little things that add up to a team being able to win.
Well, you're the best. I appreciate you stopping by for a few minutes. Have a safe trip up to New York. And let's see if we can make it 2 in a row with a win over Denver on Sunday.
All right, Dave, anytime. And best of luck to this venture that you have going here with the Giants Obsession podcast.
I appreciate it. Before I let you go, though, you have not one, because I have one podcast in addition to my morning show. You have 2 podcasts. Why don't you tell the listeners and the viewers what those are and how they can get involved with them?
Yeah, the Believe Podcast Network, BLEAV, Believe in Giants. Carl Banks and I do a recap and a preview every week. We have good guests and kind of break things down. And when you have a 2-time Super Bowl champion taking a look at the coach's tape and telling you what happened or why things happened, pretty cool. And then I have another one on Believe with Chris Bizignano of Giant Insider Newspaper Podcast. It's called the ManjaCast, where it's about food, it's about fun, it's about football, it's about friends. We've had some great guests. Michael Kay was on. I made chicken parm for him. I cook on every episode. Whatever the guest's favorite meal is, I make that dish, and I show our audience how simple it is to make these respective dishes. So when Michael Kay was on, I made him a chicken parm. I made a little chicken piccata as well that night. We've made carbonara with Phil Simms, Joe Shane. We made a penny vodka. We've had a lot of fun making meals and just kind of talking ball, having fun, and sipping some wine and eating good food.
That's awesome. You don't have a lot of choices when Michael Kay is coming on. It's like chicken parm or chicken tenders. So yeah,
correct. Yeah,
lesser.
He was the easiest one.
I'm sure he was. Well, listen, continued success. Hopefully the Giants make this a fun season. We're heading in that direction. Good luck with the podcasts. And I hope to chat with you at some point in the not so distant future.
Dave, always a pleasure.
All right. Thank you. That, of course, is Bob Papa, voice of the New York Football Giants, who you see what we do here. We provide you with the highest A-level guests. This is the voice of the Giants. Mina Kimes last week, Carl Banks, right? We've had some really, really high-level, terrific guests. So we appreciate Bob. It's got to be fun for him, right? Can you imagine the doldrums of just like, going through another game and calling the game and the Giants lose and it's so painful. And what do you do it again next week and then do it again the week after and the week after and to have no hope. And finally, this like current iteration of what the Giants are, it gives them hope. It gives them possibility. It gives them like moments of excitement. I mean, the Giants are not, you know what? How long have they been the laughing stock in the NFL for? Forever, for years. And now you're like, oh, Giants Broncos, I'm excited by that. So look at what the Giants have done. They beat the Chargers, but when the Chargers were up there high on the mantle, they beat the Chargers. They should have, I thought, beaten the Saints, and they lost that game. And I don't believe the Saints are awful. Now, I'm not sitting here telling you the Saints are going to be an 8-win team and compete for a playoff spot because I don't think that's true. But this idea that the Saints are just god-awful, I don't think is right. I don't think that's accurate at all. The Titans are awful. The Jets are awful. I don't think the Saints are awful. So is it a good loss? No, you led 14-3, and then you just started to turn them all over at an epic rate. And then you follow that up, that loss, short week, and you beat the Eagles. So you've beaten the Chargers and the Eagles so far this season. And that, to me, it's just highly impressive in what they've been able to do over the last 3 weeks. And the thing about it, too, is there's excitement. I can't tell you how many times over the last decade the Giants will play at 1 or 4 or Thursday night or Sunday night or Saturday afternoon, whenever the case may be. And it's like, I watched them, and I think you feel the same. You watch them out of obligation. I watched them because I'm a Giants fan. I watched them because my dad was a Giants fan. I watched them because that's a bond we had. I watched them because I love them. I watch them because I want to watch them. And that's a sad thing to say. I'm not excited by what the Giants have put on the field over the last God knows how many years, but maybe the worm is turning. And for me, and I don't know if you feel like this, you can, comment and critique and add your questions into the group chat, into the YouTube chat, is like, I don't need to see the Giants be a playoff team this year. Would I like it? Of course I'd like it. I'd love it. We'd all love it. But realistically, just give me something. Just give me a reason that every week I turn on the television. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm excited to watch the Giants. I can't wait for Sunday at 4:05. I'm excited about it. Does it mean they win? No. They're 7.5-point underdogs. Odds are they're not going to win. But is there reason for excitement? Yes, there's reason for excitement. And why is that? Why do we look at this thing and say there's reason for excitement? Because of the kids. And isn't that the best thing? Like if these were 30, 32, 34-year-old players, like if Russell Wilson came here and was playing at a very high level, and he's not, but he was playing at a very high level, you'd be like, okay, but it's not sustainable. You look at Jackson Dart, you look at Cam Scatterbo, you look at Abdul Carter, and you say, they're babies. This is the beginning stages of their NFL careers. So you should be excited by that. You should be excited that Abdul Carter, like Bob just said, is going to get better, is going to learn the nuances of the game and learn how to make those finishing plays. You should be excited that Jackson Dart has played 3 games and has given you a lot of moments where you say to yourself, boy, he looks really good. You should be excited that Cam Scatterbo looked like a better running back than Saquon Barkley the other day. You should be. And that's what this is about. This season for the Giants is not about getting to 9, getting to 10. Like we do the division standings earlier in the show, and it's great and it's fun. That's not what this is about. This is about trying to matter. That's what this is about. Do the Giants matter? Can the Giants matter? And right now, they do. And hopefully that continues, and hopefully they build on where they are right now moving forward. So you have 3, right? I mean, Scatterbo changes. They change the energy of this team. They change the makeup of this team. Jackson Dart, and Bob is right. And I guess he's been told, and I'm glad he added that to this broadcast. He's been told for years, you can't play like that. Now, I don't know if Brian Daboll's telling him that, or Brian Daboll's trying to, persevere for his job and hang on to that and is like, whatever you have to do. If you play like that continuously, you're not going to last for long. He needs to figure out a way where he can understand the moment. On 1st and 10, do you need to take a massive hit to pick up 8 yards as opposed to 6? I'd say no. Pick and choose those battles, right? Like 3rd and 3, you got to run through a safety to pick up the first down. Fine. 2nd and 7, do you have to go all in to try to pick up the first down? No, and he has to figure that out, because if he doesn't, we're not going to be talking about him making it. He will not make it through this season. You heard Bob talk about it. You've heard Mina Kimes talk about it. You've heard me talk about it. It cannot exist. He will not last the season if it continues to play like that. Other than that, I think you have to be ecstatic. He buys time. He throws a good football, and it's happening. It's slowly morphing into, and this is a tough test. If he can go out there against Denver and not turn the ball over and look competent and even look good, you can lose this game and pick up points if you're the Giants. Again, it's not about wins and losses. A lot of this season is about how it looks. All right, let's bring the guys in. We haven't even talked about with our guys yet, and that's, of course, the great Nico and maybe the even better Steve. So let's bring these guys in. Nico, Steve, hello. How are you?
Hello. How are you?
Steve, you don't root for the Giants, do you?
No, you know that, Dave.
Oh, yes. Who do you root for, Steve?
The very exciting and fun New York Jets.
Well, they did put up 11 points yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they did have 45 yards of passing yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when it was all said and done, they had minus 10 yards of net passing yesterday. Yeah, that's not what you're looking for, is
Historically bad.
Historically bad.
No, I'm not.
Steve, I'm not trying to make you feel miserable. I think
really?
No, I'm not. I think the Jets have done that all by themselves. So are you, because we had this conversation a lot this morning on my radio show. Are you, and you can be, I don't think it's bad or good or whatever. Are you losing patience so far with Aaron Glenn?
Like, how do you not say no? Like, he hasn't shown anything.
How do you not say yes? How do you not say yes?
Oh, sorry. How do you not say yes?
Yeah.
He hasn't shown anything. He's nothing. There's that excitement when we scored and he was dancing. He looked like an absolute fool. And it looks even better now, right? No, it doesn't. It looks horrible. And every time I support a team like this, it just never goes in the right direction. And I'm tired of him. How do you keep him? But at the same time, what's the point of firing? Because we're not going to do better anyway. So I'm fine with losing because we'll go for a better pick and then we'll just ruin that guy's, whoever we draft, his legacy. So it doesn't really matter. We're just in an endless cycle.
I'm basking in this right
now. Well, you guys
Why?
get some young talent.
Are you jealous?
Me?
No, not you.
Oh, he's so jealous.
Why would you be jealous of him? His team hasn't won a game. He's the only team in the NFL that hasn't won a game. Why would I ask you if you're jealous of him? Hey, Nico, his team has a quarterback that throws like Uncle Rico, right? He roots for a team that hasn't won this year. They put up 45 yards of passing yesterday. They were sacked 9 times. Are you jealous of that, Nico?
No, definitely not.
No, okay. Steve, are you jealous of the Giants right now?
Yes. And it sucks even more because I'm on this show, so I got to watch you guys all the time. But I have been like rooting for you guys more.
He has. I mean, Dave caught it before the show. Steve talked to the Giants and said, we.
Yeah. Steve, here's what I'm going to do. I think the Giants would give me this power to do right now. All right, Nico, you serve as our witness. I'm extending an olive branch. I would like to welcome you into the bosom of the Giants. I would like for you, if you choose to, make the switch. I don't know where this Jets fandom comes from. If your dad,
my father, great.
Your dad,
so happy.
Listen, you could have. Did you rebel as a teenager? Probably not. This could be your time to rebel, pick a new team, and jump on the Jackson Dart bandwagon. Who says no?
I just can't. I'm just not that. I can't jump ship.
He's already halfway there. I mean, we're in the studio watching the game. But we were in the studio watching the game, and Scadaboo runs in the touchdown, and I turn around, and you got the hand up, ready, high five. You're going, yeah.
Well, I don't have beef with the Giants. I don't. Like, it's not like the Mets Yankees. Like, I could care less about the Mets. I despise them so much. Like how you despise our Yankees.
Well, you do then care about the Mets. If you despise them, you care about them.
I don't. Like, they're just nothing to me. Like, I don't like. They're just.
That's fine.
They're still
that's
little
fine.
brother.
And you know what? To be honest with you, and I'm not trying to start a war here on Dave Rothenberg's Giants obsession, but to be quite frank with you, that's how I feel about the Jets. Like, the Jets are irrelevant to me. What do I care about the Jets? Like, I slap you across the face like you're a little brother.
That's how I feel about the Nets.
Right?
Same thing.
Oh, the Nets.
Then the Nets are still, of all the Mets, Yankees, the Jets, Giants, the Islanders, Rangers, Devils thrown in there too. The Nets
are on the bottom. They're below my foot.
No, they are bottom.
If you had to round out, like, get to 100% of a New York fan base about the sport, like, I would say the Giants are 65 to 35. I'd say the Yankees are like, I don't know, 57 to 60 to 40-ish in that range. What's that look?
60-40.
You think it's more than 60? There's a lot of Mets fans, man.
No, I agree.
There's a lot of Mets
but
fans,
there are a lot of Yankee fans. I would say 65.
Okay, all right. So I wasn't, but I'm saying, like, basketball, it feels like it's 98-2.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah.
even higher. Like, for every 100 NBA New York fans, I'd say like 98, maybe 99 are Knicks fans.
It's over talked like that. The amount of how bad that move was moving from Jersey to Brooklyn. Like, that's one of the worst sporting decisions of all time.
Because they at least had some kind of like a fan, like, whatever. We don't need to break
down the. But I don't want to talk about the Nets here.
Yeah, I don't want to do that either. So, do we have any questions, any involvement, any comments?
Absolutely.
People want some stuff answered. Where are we with that, Nico?
So we have one coming in from Bobby Bugs. You remember Bobby Bugs in the Fanatic tier? I think it's clear we have the quarterback. Now the question is, do we have the coach? And for a time, I've thought no, but the way we played on Thursday, the truth is ...
The truth is, we don't know. I mean, here's the thing. Do you feel better about Dable? Yes. Do you feel like Dable and Dart could be a combination that, goes on some kind of a nice run? Maybe. But don't you think if the Giants move, and I don't know, and I listen, they still have 11 games. I think a lot will be told over the final 11 games. If the Giants were to move on from Brian Dable, you don't think this is a hot commodity job that you could argue almost any smart young coach, old, it doesn't even matter, would want to jump into what the Giants are building here?
Yes.
If you have the quarterback and you deem that you have the quarterback, and it looks pretty obvious so far that you do have the quarterback, you don't think that if you opened it up and said, I want this year's Ben Johnson, that he would want to wind up coaching the Giants? I think you're crazy to not think that they would want to land here with the Giants and what the Giants are building.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that if it wasn't 2 weeks ago, but the way it changes, I think you almost want to take that opportunity. I'm not saying fire Daboll, but if we go on a streak of losing games again, then it doesn't become a valuable position. I mean, maybe it does, but it becomes less valuable the worse we do. Or the worst Jackson Dart looks.
Yeah, I listen. Let's wait and see. It's a conversation that you can have at any point. We have 11 games. I think a lot will be told over the final 11 games.
Yeah.
So I don't think we can have that conversation right now. What else do we have? Comments?
We have one coming in from Julian Colon. So
Okay.
Dave, what does
Cologne?
Cologne?
Maybe, I don't know. But you're just so quick to say colon. Could be Cologne. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
Cologne's
if
with
the
like a
first name
G.
was if the first name was Bartolo, how would you pronounce that last name?
Cologne. That's
All
why.
right.
Yeah.
All right. So there you go. Go
So
ahead.
Dave, what does a win against the Eagles do for a young Giants team like this?
Young Giants team like this, forget about them. Think about me. What does it do for me? Oh, it was honestly, guys, it was so good. I'm still basking in that. I went to bed Friday night with a smile on my face. I watched football all day yesterday, and I felt different than I had. It's just it's game changing to beat the Eagles. I detest the Eagles. Listen, I never leave. I'm always here. Right? Darius Slayton, he hasn't been here that long. Jackson Dart, he doesn't know. Right? I mean, but what it does mean to them is you beat the Super Bowl champions. The Super Bowl champions, came into your building and you beat the crap out of them. and that matters. And I think that gets carried forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have one coming in from a friend of the show, Jake Asman.
Oh,
we have a super chat. Dave, will you shake that energy maker of yours?
What does he mean? My bottom? He wants me to shake my bottom. I will not do that, Jake. I do appreciate the little tip that you put over here. I will not shake the bottom, but I will tell you
$2.
it's not worth $2. Now, if you were to get to a number which I felt was worthy of shaking my bottom, I would do that. But no, I'm not going to at this moment. I'll tell you what I will do. All right, Steve, we have your 5,000 follower face paint, and we have the which our executive producer Joe says we're not doing the slap fighter. I stand in the way of potentially we try to push that through. If the Giants beat the Broncos followed by the Eagles, I will shake my ass right in front of everyone. I'm not kidding.
Goodness.
I will turn around and I will
Might be a Giants fan this week.
I will dip down and I will shake it. If the Giants beat the Broncos and the Eagles, they sweep the Eagles on the year and get the 500. I'll shake it like showgirls is how I'll shake it.
I don't know how many people want to see that.
A lot of people.
Obviously, a lot of people.
I have a sexy bottom. A sexy bottom.
I'm gonna have to make it into a thumbnail at least one point in the season.
What else you got?
We have one coming in from Kenneth Rolls. If we go above 500, do you want Daves and Shane back? Seems like a competent coach and GM shouldn't be so reliant on one or two guys in order to win games in modern NFL.
Well, you say that. I mean, quarterback. I mean, what do you think the Chiefs would be if you took Patrick Mahomes out of there? Like you say, well, he shouldn't be that reliant. What do you think the Chargers are if you take Justin Herbert out? What do you think the Eagles are if you take Jalen Hurts out? I mean, that's the game. You could say there's too much emphasis on the quarterback now, and I think there actually is. The quarterback is too important in the NFL. That being said, if they go above 500, if this team starts out finishes 9-8 or better. Yeah, of course you'd be an idiot if they get to 7. I don't see how you couldn't bring them back. If they get to 9 above 500, you would have to absolutely unequivocally bring them back.
We fall into the same trap that we did a couple years ago, making the playoffs. I think like same thing with that Daniel Jones situation. Like we won games and we had to sign him back, but
that's the worst thing that could have possibly happened. I've said this a million times. The worst thing the Giants could have done was make the play a 9-7-1. It's not like they were 12-5. They were 9-7-1, and they had miraculous wins that year. Remember, they started out 7-2. They won the game where they did the 2-point conversion to Saquon. Mm-hmm. They won the game against Baltimore, where Baltimore led by 10 points with 4 minutes to go and gagged and collapsed in that game, and the Giants won it. They won games they shouldn't have won. And all that being said, they still went 9-7-1. And I do not believe they would have brought Jones back had they not won the Vikings game. But he played at such a high level.
He played he was like Statue of Liberty plays, like the fake throw handoff behind the back to Saquon.
He was great. And then you had your comeuppance when you took on the Eagles the next week, and you saw what a legitimate superstar team could do, and they buried you. And the Giants have been in the doldrums since. But that was the worst thing that could have happened. Was you had a taste of success, you thought it was trending in the right direction, and in fact, it was hemorrhaging into the wrong direction. Mm-hmm. That's it.
That's it.
Oh, thank you. You're very nice. All right, so. We mentioned Dart, mentioned Scadaboo, Abdul Carter. Now, Bob brings up an interesting point because, listen, I watch it closely. Bob lives it. I thought that Carter did some nice things in the game on Thursday, but I was a little bit hesitant to sit here and give him tremendous praise because let's be honest. I mean, he had no assists, he had no tackles, he had no sacks, and it's difficult to look at this and say to yourself, boy, it looks great. But when you hear him say that the Eagles looked at Abdul Carter and thought he was a massive problem and that they don't care about what the stat sheet showed and they were impressed with what he was able to do, yeah, I think you have to take that with a grain of salt and be excited. You have to be excited. You can't look at the Giants and not be excited. And the thing that I look at, and I find it to be somewhat frustrating, is that if Malik Neighbors didn't get hurt, what could have been? Like, you are wowed by Jackson Dart. Could you imagine how excited and wowed you'd be by Jackson Dart if you had a superstar receiver? Wan'Dale's fine. He's not special. Will Jordan Humphrey is not special. He was inactive for most games, and then they activate him. Daniel Bellinger is not special. So they're putting up 34 points. He scored 5 touchdowns. And your best player on offense is Wan'Dale? Right? So think about that for a second. All right, let's go to my fixins, guys. My fixins. So here's what Brian Dable and the Giants coaching staff has to work on. And I told you I look at the fixins as like a fixins bar. Nico sees my fixins as like I'm out there doing real manly labor. I'm gonna let you in on a secret. I've never done real manly labor, but I did break out the Phillips head screwdriver the other day and fix a cabinet which was not functioning at a high capacity. And for that, I think we should take a moment and just really appreciate what I was able to do. But they had me out on a job site. Well, thank you. They had me out like a foreman, right? So, all right, here's what has to change. They need to get more pressure on the quarterback, and that might be difficult to do because the offensive line of the Denver Broncos is very, very good. The secondary has been like it's feast or famine and has been feast or famine all year long. The secondary continues to commit penalties at a very high rate. That has to change. But again, Cordell Flott is kind of coming into his own a little bit. He's a slight guy, so you worry about injury with him. He's surpassed Deonte Banks, which is something that should have and now has happened, but they commit a lot of penalties. So you got the big interception. You got the fumble the other night that they pounced on and recovered that was poked out by Dane Belton. So there are good things that the secondary does, but they do get the defense in hot water, which can be remedied if we get pressure on the quarterback. And then special teams, they missed an extra point the other night. The opening kickoff bounced at like the 28-yard line, so the Eagles got it at the 40-yard line. It's these little nuanced things. Like when you're not a special team and you have to get things to work properly, it's the little things that you have to get better at. And I'm just trying to see. I got some news here that I potentially want to report to you. All right, so here we go. If you had, I'm not going to tell you quite yet. We have a coaching firing in the NFL. A lot of people thought it would be Mike McDaniel that was the first coach to go. It's not. Others thought it would be Brian Dable that would be the first coach to go. It's not. Aaron Glenn, 0-6, laughing stock. It's not. Brian Callahan of the Tennessee Titans at 1-5 and getting run over by the Las Vegas Raiders yesterday. Brian Callahan is out as head coach of the Tennessee Titans, and that is probably a good thing for Cam Ward because Cam Ward through 6 games looks dreadful. And I'm not saying he won't be very good. Remember, the Giants wanted him. They tried to trade up to get him. I'm not saying he won't be very, very good. But at this point, you've been underwhelmed. And that happens, and that's fine. That can happen. But at least you need the right guy to work along in conjunction with the quarterback at Tennessee. So, Brian Callahan, we hardly knew you.
I believe that some of it had to do with this morning. He had a quote saying that he is incredibly discouraged with Cam Ward.
Well, Cam Ward's going nowhere.
Yeah.
So I don't know why you would ever say anything like Aaron Glenn could take the podium and say he's incredibly discouraged with Justin Fields and move on to Tyrod Taylor. And I think that's fair. Cam Ward they said shake your moneymaker before. Cam Ward is the moneymaker of the Titans. Like they will go or not go as far as they can based on what he's able to do. So you just, it makes you question. They took a timeout off of a 2-minute warning the other day. It just feels like things were not functioning at a high level at all in Tennessee, even a little bit. All right, let's bring up the picks, and I don't think they're going to be great, but let's bring up the picks right now. All right, so we went 1-2. We fall to 7-11. You can see how heartbroken I look there. Denver -6.5. That was an awful, awful pick. If I'd have told you the Jets scored 11 points, I would have loved that. But the Jets defense played well. The special teams played well. And Denver -6.5 did not work out. Cleveland +6. That was a terrible pick. It really was. Cleveland was almost non-competitive in that game against Pittsburgh yesterday. And then we have Seattle +1. Seattle's now won 9 consecutive road games. They improved to 4-2. They're a very good football team. They have weapons, and Jigba's really, turned himself into one of the better receivers in the NFL. And Seattle covers that at +1. So with that 1-2, we fall to 7-11, but we continue our journey to move down the track of getting better as this 2025 season runs along. The Mount Rushmore. All right, so bring up my Mount Rushmore, and we decided Dave's Mount Rushmore. Take that away. I don't even want to see that guy. Give me can you give me a blank Mount Rushmore? All right, take that away. It's fine. Let me tease it. Let me salivate on this for a moment. All right. Mount Rushmore of rookies. Now, this is in no order, but we're going to give you Mount Rushmore of rookies. Now bring it up. In the 4th spot, again, no order, but we're going to start with, you look at that, you say, who is that? That is Tet McMillan, receiver out of Arizona on the Panthers. Jets get to see him this coming week. He is a terrific player, caught a couple touchdowns yesterday. He's shown his worth early on, worthy of being a top 10 pick. He's an excellent player and has had a really, really good first 6 games. Panthers are interesting. They're 3-0 at home and 0-3 on the road. Next up, and he got hurt yesterday, which I know for fantasy people is very upsetting. Emeka Egbuka, kid out of Ohio State. They drafted him. They raved about him. I think they took him in the 20s. They raved about him. Now, Baker Mayfield will probably be fine without him because Baker Mayfield feels like he can take anybody and make them competent. But Egbuka has been sensational so far this season. Was on his way to another big game yesterday. Hamstring, and I saw something earlier today that sounds like he may miss some time. So if we revisit this in a month or 6 weeks, he may not be on there. But at the moment, Egbuka has been phenomenal in his start to the NFL. Next up from the Colts, and I really think this is a large reason why Daniel Jones has been so good. Tyler Warren, you know what he feels like to me? He feels like he's been in the league for 9 years. Like he acts, he looks, he plays like he's a seasoned veteran in this league. He's a terrific tight end. And Daniel Jones loves to throw the football to the tight end. He has one of the better ones already in his rookie season. He's a real problem. Down in the red zone, he's a problem. With that seam pattern, he's a problem. He's a terrific player. Huge fan of Tyler Warren. I don't think this is like homerism for me. I think this guy's adding a ton of juice to this team, and that is Jackson Dart, right? I mean, you look at what he's been able to do so far. He took a team and a fan base that was going through the motions, and now they look so different and they look so good, and there's reason for excitement. So Tet McMillan, yeah, he's good. Has he led Carolina to being this, oh, I want to watch Carolina? No. And a receiver doesn't do that anyway. Has Egbuka done it? Egbuka's terrific. But you see, without Egbuka, without Mike Evans, you know what, Baker Mayfield, he's still really good and can make anybody seemingly into a really good receiver. Tyler Warren, same thing. You take him off that team, yeah, they'd miss him. Jones wouldn't be as good. You take Dart off the Giants, they're probably sitting here winless right now. And that's where we are. All right, guys, wipe that away. Any other questions, Nico? Any other comments? Anything that people want to know? Anything you want to know, Nico? Anything I can help you with at this very moment?
I actually want to make an announcement before we start doing that.
You have an announcement.
We do. We have an announcement. So if
I know about this?
No, I don't think I brought it up to you.
Oh, that's not good.
No, it's
what
not
happens
that
if
big of an announcement.
what were to happen if I don't like this announcement?
No, it's not like we're not doing anything.
Okay.
I just want to tell everyone who has joined the community, thank you for joining the community, and all the members. If you want to get involved as a member, check out the community tab. We posted something on there the other day. Leave a comment for what you want for our exclusive content of the month, what video you're going to get as being part of the DRGO.
So there's going to be exclusive, like behind the scenes.
We are going to have an extra
but
video.
not nudity.
No, not inappropriate.
I just want that understood as we're sitting here right now.
That's for next week when the Giants beat the Broncos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
no. Broncos and Eagles, and then I'm gonna give
got
you a
it.
dance.
Broncos and Eagles.
A
yeah.
sexy dance is what I'm gonna give you.
Yeah.
All right. So that's how they can get involved in the community and get, let's be fair, stuff that everyone else is not getting.
Yeah, there's things on the community tab that are for everyone, but there's also member only stuff that we posted. So if you're a member and want to get involved, go check that out and leave some comments so you can be involved and let us know what you want for your
and how
comment.
can people become members here?
If you go right down below, right next to our subscribe and our notification bell, there's a little join thing. You can join any tier, and you get some perks listed below. And yeah, how you do it.
Well, that's beautiful. Also, let's let people know we're gonna be back Wednesday at 1:00. We're gonna be back Friday at 1:00. We're gonna be back Sunday about 15-20 minutes after the Giants game, probably right around that 7:30 range. So I mean, you can kind of plan your week out with us because we're gonna be here every other day with you. So Giants and Broncos, that comes your way on Sunday. We're gonna get into that game. We're gonna preview that. We're gonna start looking ahead. But for now, until Wednesday at 1, this has been another edition of, and we'll see you Wednesday at 1. And again, on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, Twitter, DRNYGO. TikTok, Instagram, DR Giants Obsession. Spotify, Dave Rothenberg Giants Obsession. And YouTube. Like us and subscribe. We love you guys and want you to be a part of Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession.